And focus. Click the links for Odysee, Chute, or support channel on the mainstream platforms or through crypto, or sub to the other YouTube channel, which is doing political stuff. And honestly, it's right on the verge of wrong thing. So it's just not going to be on YouTube long. Yeah, don't pay money to see fat chicks. I was going to say don't pay money to see fat dudes, but fat dudes can be funny, where fat chicks are rarely funny. They're just kind of there. Anyway, so Ghostbusters 2016, was that underrated? Someone in this interviewer is like some sycophant interviewer is trying to talk to her and ask her how she felt if it was underrated. It's like very few people felt Ghostbusters 2016 was underrated. And unpopular opinion here for our side of this equation is I didn't actually hate Ghostbusters 2016. I saw the potential in it, and I wish that they had a better director who would put more structure on the story. I think you could have made something out of it. As it was, it just turned out to be a fat girl movie, the Amy Schumer type of thing. You see these girls in the role, the 4 chicks who are in it, and you know it's going to be cringe, which it was, but it was harmless cringe for back in 2016. I think the reason a lot of people got legitimately perturbed about it is because Ghostbusters was, I've heard it referred to as the perfect comedy. And if you go back and watch the original Ghostbusters, yeah, there's no wasted space in that movie. Every inch of film, which probably was filmed back in those days, was used. Like every part of that movie was telling the story or was being funny. That was just an amazing cast. Everyone worked together. It's like lightning in a bottle. 77 Star Wars, Ghostbusters, whatever that was filmed. You're never going to get that kind of stuff again. And like trying to recapture that's where you fall on your face. It's like don't try to get that lightning back. Tell something new. Create something new. Like you got these 4 chicks. You would have had to incorporate the old guys into the story, like them training the girls and the girls being totally incompetent, and then slowly they get better and better. And then they have their trial by fire, and they pass through the other side. But I mean, it's like that's a level of storytelling that I guess the director just wasn't. He just had he had them do sketch comedy. But even how did that get in there? Even sketch comedy has to have an end. It's going to start. A lead up to a joke, the punchline, the resolution of the tension, and then you move on to the next scene. You just let that punchline sit. And they were doing things like they would rush the punchline, and then immediately after they set up the punchline scenario, they would step on it and just keep following it up. It's like they never let it just sit and develop. The thing is, like 2016 Ghostbusters was harmless cringe. It wasn't like shockingly, offensively stupid, unless you went in there with the expectation of seeing a real movie, which I didn't. Where the stuff that's coming out in the past 18 months, I don't even remember all the films that came out in the past 18 months because that's how forgettable they were. Snake Eyes, that was unwatchably bad. Black Widow was probably the best of this bunch, but it's like saying, oh yeah, the movie's a C-, but compared to the D- movies, it's like Shakespeare. No, it's still a bad movie. You don't have to never settle for bad movies, especially if you're paying for them. You can just be honest and say, yeah, this is crap. Jungle Book, crap. Wonder Woman 1984, aggressive crap. Shang-Chi, it's not like these movies. Yeah, it was crap too, but they're not trying to be bad. They're organically bad. They're trying to be good, but post 2020, BLM Antifa riots, you're not going to be able to make a good movie unless it's some like space alien tale that's just not. People aren't able to draw an analogy to Earth. So Ghostbusters 2016 was aggressively unfunny. It was mom humor. Women in general are not funny and I'm not trying to be funny to say that. I feel like that's not a funny, that's just a statement of fact. Women just in general aren't funny because that's kind of not their role in life unless they have a funny man directing them. But Paul Feige is not funny either. So you're left with this fat mom trying to do comedy. Nothing they did was funny. I keep saying politically correct comedy is like comedy without the comedy. I mean, the structure is set up for a punchline, tension, and resolution, a little insight into man's eternal struggle with being a thinking ape, having a galaxy between his ears and not quite knowing how to deal with it. But the punchline is always going to be blonde man bad and a little black girl will save the day. The real lesson learned was the little black girls will save the day. Oh, it it leaves the audience feeling like they just saw propaganda, which they absolutely did. I look back at 2016, and the sodomy good think we got back then was nothing compared to the pee on our legs and call it rain that we're going to get post-2020 riots. To the extent of, why are you paying for movies by people who hate you? Even beyond that, if you surf the free VPN waters, why? Shang-Chi and the others, they're not worth watching even if you see them for free. You get 20 minutes into these movies, or what was that other one with the chick who was in Suicide Squad? That was pre-2020 riots, but there's been a bunch of bad movies. The Suicide Squad Part 2 came out, but then there was like Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey came out before that. Like, they're all bad movies. Like, you get 20 minutes into these movies, and you start feeling like, this is a 2-hour movie plus. Should I just stop watching and go read a book or something? Yeah, they're not. And even that the Suicide Squad Part 2, or whatever they called it, was like, you first think like, oh, this is kind of an okay movie, and then it comes to the end and you go, oh, you want to rewatch it? No. Well, then how good of a movie was it if you don't want to rewatch it? I'm always feeling like, oh, somebody will enjoy it, but then somebody asks me like, yeah, but did you enjoy it? No. Do you want to rewatch it? No. Well, then it probably wasn't a good movie. Anyway, so Venom is coming out today, and let me just predict without even seeing it, because I have no interest in seeing it. I mean, I will see it. It's going to be fine. Like, that's going to be it. That's going to be the milquetoast. Oh, did you like the movie? Oh, yeah, it was okay. It was fine. You want to see it again? No. I mean, you know how you see good movies, and you just immediately want to watch them again for some people, or you want to give it a little time to develop, you want to watch it again. But like seeing like the 3 Star Wars trilogies that come out, very few people rewatch those movies. That's why they didn't make as much money as their predecessors, because rewatchability was so bad because the movies were so disappointing. There was some rumor about there's going to be a gay relationship between the alien symbiote and the human character. No, probably not, because that's just not the character that was developed earlier. It's a sequel, right? So it's like you really can't go too far outside of what the first movie set up. The movie will be instantly forgettable. You'll walk out of the theater and poof, it's just gone. It's like everything else in the past 18 months is just a puff of just nothingness. Yeah, they're taking your money and they're peeing unicorn cum shot sparkles on your legs, but it magically dissolves quickly. Melissa McCarthy seems a bit pressed, touch some grass, yikes, my guy, bad take, over the criticism that her bad movies have been getting. Easy way around that is just stop making bad films. Problem solved. In a few years, Twitter and YouTube are going to make criticism of movies off limits. And, you know, I said that as kind of a throwaway without even thinking about it. And now that I think about it, like, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to do that. Like, totally. Why wouldn't they? Because, you know, they actually, now that I think about it, they started with, there used to be, I don't know how long you've been on YouTube, SJW criticism cringe channels into like before 2016. They were huge, and they were funny as hell because the SJWs were so cringy. Those channels have been YouTube has been just getting rid of those. First they demonetized them. They said like they don't want you using clips or something, which is nonsense. It's like the clips are public domain. They don't want you using that, so they demonetized those channels, and then they just started getting rid of the channels altogether. And it has nothing to do with clip usage. It has to do with, well, SJWs is pushing a narrative, and YouTube is pushing that narrative also. So if you come out and you lampoon them, SJWs, Marxist, Communists, Bolsheviks, Moses Mordecai Levyists, they do not want you laughing at them. And when you laugh at SJWs, it's like you're laughing at the whole left-wing narrative, or at least the far left-wing narrative. So Google, which bought YouTube, I don't know when they bought them, and got to talk about buying something and just effing it in the A until it just implodes, which is what Google did. They just got rid of those channels. They don't want you laughing at them. They want their ideas taken seriously. So you're stuck with like, oh, okay, we got to get rid of these channels. There's a few that have survived, but I mean, very, very few. So my point is like, yeah, they're gonna, like, channels that criticize, who was Mahler, who's doing these like 4-hour criticisms of, you know, these type of movies. They're probably going to get rid of those channels also in the future because, again, it's a narrative. If you're making fun of SJW movies, you're making fun of the ideology behind the Marxism behind it, the Bolshevism behind it. So, yeah, I said that as a throwaway line, but, I mean, mark my word. And, you know, it's funny. It's like the quartering really has his finger on the pulse of YouTube, and he's a smart guy, even if you don't like him, because like, yeah, I'm not quitting my day job because like, they could fire me tomorrow and there's fuck all I can do about it. Yeah, channels like that, you criticize their beliefs, like, oh, hey, this SJW movie was bad. It's like, well, why was it bad? Oh, the diversity is cancer. Oh, you're off YouTube. Like, whoa, are some ideas not allowed? Yeah, that's how YouTube is going. There's a bunch of stuff I did is on my other channel talk about the stuff that YouTube is censoring now. Entire channels, entire concepts. It's like YouTube is being left with like the stuff that's left now. I find myself, I used to have YouTube playing in the background all the time, just listening to it. I'm like, no, I'm listening to music now or something else in the background. I'm doing something else. It's like there's just not enough on YouTube. That's I don't know what the future landscape of YouTube's going to be. It's gonna suck. It's like you can take channels like, say, the big one for pop culture, for like a middle of the road approach would be the quartering, and you can just soften them up until there's no point in doing it anymore, which is probably, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if there's a mass exodus to Odysee, then that would probably be for the best, but nobody wants to be the first to leave the ship. I mean, you really got to kind of leave in a group to make any money doing it, so you can monetize it. Anyway, they're just going to call like criticism of movies hate thoughts and Trumpism or something like that. America has gotten just so fake, and the G word for lighthearted and frivolous, that we're reaching its also tiresome levels previously unimaginable. Anyway, check out the links, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys on Odysee, BitChute, Gap TV, and join the Discord, though it's full of those dangerous free thinkers.